Welcome to the Transformational Soul Show with your host, Ruth Soltman. Are you ready to experience more stability in your life? You can change your life and be who you are meant to be, your authentic self.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Transformational Soul. My name is Ruth Soltman, and I'd like to welcome you if you are here for the first time, and welcome back if you've been here before. I'd like to say hello to Thomas and Laura. How you guys doing out there? And Sarah. Hello, Sarah. I want to say hi to everybody also that's watching over there on Rumble. We appreciate you guys. Before we get started, let's just relax for a little bit, take a few deep breaths, and kind of just wash away our cares of the day. So let's take a deep breath in and out. And another one. And one more. And as we gather here together, we ask for our spiritual tribes to come in and form a sacred circle around us. We ask for all of the angels and archangels, all of our guides and angels, our healing angels, our higher selves, and all of our ancestors to join with us now. We ask our spiritual tribe to wrap this sacred circle in a beautiful light-filled bubble of the highest vibrations of love and light. We also ask that we be open to all messages that we receive, and that we receive them with a love-filled heart and an open mind. We ask that they help us to heal and be for our best and highest good. We ask that we hear exactly what we need to hear and that we feel it at our very core. We ask that all messages be given and received with the highest vibration of love and light. And so it is. I think I probably needed those deep breaths a little bit more than you guys did. Well, can you guys believe it's already June 1st? I mean, this year is flying by. It feels like we just celebrated Christmas, and, you know, it's just crazy how fast the time goes. I hope everybody had a really good weekend. Thank you to those of you who have submitted a testimonial. It's very much appreciated. If you would like to show your gratitude to Goldylocks, you can submit a testimonial as well for a show or a show host, and you can do it right on the Goldylocks Productions webpage. Or website. You just click up at the top where it says testimonials, and a little box will open, and you can put a couple of sentences in there and just hit submit, and it's all done. Now, I told you guys probably last week, I believe, that I've scheduled some amazing special guests for this summer, and some amazing special guests for the Words of Wisdom segment. So in 2 weeks, Carol and Carrie will be here, and tonight is my first special guest of the summer, and it's Paige, Ozma, Ashmore. Before I bring Paige on, I just wanted to remind you guys that messages are freely given to all those who ask for one. A donation is not necessary. However, if you would like to receive an additional perk during this live show, you may make a donation of $5 or more, and your messages will be first in line in the order that they're received, and you will receive a little bit longer message. Please note that donations of $4.99 and below will go to this show host and my production costs, which means no additional perks of moving up or a longer message. But you will still receive a message as time allows. Thank you for your donation if you choose to donate. And if you'd like to send a tip or donation, Paige's Venmo, I believe Tiffany has posted it. It's at Paige, Paige, Ashmore, Ashmor. And I know a few people have already gotten in their donations. So let me tell you a little bit about Paige. She is an artist and an intuitive reader, having read tarot cards professionally for over 30 years. That's hard to believe, Paige. You must have come out of the womb reading them. As an artist, she has created murals, was a concept artist for the 2018 film 11, and has also combined her art and intuitive faculties to create soul portraits. And those are soft pastel portraits of one's soul energy, past lives, and spirit guides. And I've seen some of them that she's done, and they're absolutely amazing. She was born in the South and spent her formative years living in Germany. She credits living near forests and castles as her main inspiration for her art. Steeped in fairy tales and older stories, she learned of bears that could talk, sleeping princesses in old castles, and how the woods could hold deep mysteries inside of it. She has created a tarot deck called Tarot of the Kingdoms, which was published by Red Feather in 2020, and has also illustrated a children's book called Iala, I hope I pronounced that right, by Ein Sullivan. I saw that they are available on Amazon, so you guys check those out. So without further ado, let's welcome Paige. Hello, Paige.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy and very grateful that you agreed to come on tonight.
Thank you.
Is there anything about you that I didn't mention that you would want people to know?
That was pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I think it covered it.
Awesome. So I had asked Paige before the show how long she's been doing these soul portraits, and would you say 2004?
2004. Mm-hmm.
Or, yeah, that's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
No, I do have one question.
Yeah.
Can you, like, when you do your past life readings and that, can you see things for yourself as well?
Yes.
That's awesome, because I know I've heard a lot of people can't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes my downloads will come at really inconvenient times. Like I had this entire past life in Egypt download while I was driving on the highway during rush hour.
Oh, no.
I'm like, really? So I could drive and see this whole drama unfold, and it was a trip.
Wow. Well, Laura Ramiro said that you did a wonderful reading for her, and your artwork is beautiful and very meaningful.
Thank you.
Hello, Joyce. And so if someone wants to order a soul portrait, what do they do?
What they do is they can email me directly. I don't have like a click to buy button yet on my website. And that's mostly because I want to get a feel for the person that wants to order the portrait and just see if they have any questions, anything like that. But emailing me at laylagenie@gmail.com. That's the best way to do it. Okay.
Now, let me ask you a question. Can you purchase a soul portrait for someone else, like as a gift?
Yes.
So would you like say I wanted to purchase one for someone else, would I send you their information, a picture? I mean, what would I do?
You would send me their first and last name. That's all I need. And then a mailing address for them. If it gets mailed directly to the person, I put care of.
Gotcha.
Whoever the person is.
That's awesome to know. I was real curious about that. I mean, that would make a very wonderful gift for someone. That's a one-of-a-kind gift. Yeah.
That's a lot of actually who order portraits from me are that.
I'm sorry?
That's actually how a lot of them come through is through that.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. Let's say hello to some people here. I see a lot of people have jumped on. Hello, Heidi. Nice to see you. And Maureen is watching on Rumble. So hello, Maureen. Veronica. Veronica's here. Hi, Veronica. And Heather. Hello, Heather. And let's see who else we have here. And Stony. Hello, Stony. So like I was saying earlier, if you guys would like to jump to the head of the line to have a little reading with Paige tonight, then you can send her a Venmo, $5 or more, and that will push you up to the front of the line. You do not have to make a donation, of course. And I'm sure Paige would love to do as many as we can get. We have time for, right?
Okay. Yeah, I love doing this.
Oh, awesome. So if you're okay with it, Paige, are you ready to get started on the reading?
I am.
Okay. I know. I'm sure they're very excited. So the first one we have is Sarah and Graphia.
Okay. All right. So let me tap in here for a minute. Wow. So what it's showing to me is like a spiral of energy. So this is interesting to me because it's actually showing you between your lifetimes. So you had a past life where it feels like you were on another planet and you decided that you wanted to start incarnating into human lifetimes. So a lot of your past lives are going to be from other worlds. And so you've been exposed to a lot of different ideas, a lot of different ways things are doing. There's one planet you were from where you guys communicated through singing. So everything was like, it sounds like I'm hearing music all the time. And it's really beautiful. And it feels like a world that was discovered by other species in other parts, near there. They were in other solar systems. But that world is kind of like a cultural center of the universe right now. So you came from that lifetime and then you decided to come into Earth. And they're showing me the spiral of blue energy that's kind of spinning down. And it looks like first you came into indigenous cultures where you could experience shamanism, traveling between the worlds, because you kind of came in as an artist in that respect. So it's about how can I create with what I learned? And they're saying, and Spirit keeps saying over and over again that that's a thing for you, is like with whatever it is you're doing in life, how can you create from it? And what they're showing me is all the things you're engaged in now, but these doors just kind of opening up, like they're opening up all over the place. And they're saying you might be confused about which door to go through. But what they're sharing is light coming out of these doors. So sometimes the light is stronger and that's the door you go through. And you could be like, oh, well, great. How do I do that? One way you could do it is if you're in meditation, just look at different options you have in front of you and which door seems to have the most light coming out of it. Even if the door seems closed to you, where's the light coming out? Like, you know how you see light coming out through the bottom of a door? So you could see it that way. You could see it in states of opening. But also as you go about your regular life, pay attention to what attracts you visually. Like, do you see a flash of something out of nowhere? And then get in touch with what were you just thinking at that moment? Because they keep showing me that. And this is interesting too, because they say after this time on Earth, there's possibilities of future lifetimes where you go to a dimension of light and you're going to be working with light frequencies and channeling them in healing, into like healing modalities. But you're not just healing beings. It feels like you're healing planets and stars. So that's really fascinating. So it's like a journey. So they're wanting to pay attention to the journey. So your journey from these lifetimes living in other worlds, the journey between lifetimes where you're choosing what you want to do, your journey into this lifetime, what you're creating with it, and the journey after where you could become one of these light beings that channels light healing energy throughout the universe. So that's pretty cool.
Wow, that is really cool. So when you do a reading, do you get a visual? Do you feel it? How does the information come to you?
Usually it's a visual thing. I'll see it first and then the guides start talking. Like I'll see
Oh,
images. It's kind of like watching a movie. Like when
oh,
I do
neat.
people's pictures, I'll sit and close my eyes and then usually a lot of stuff just starts dropping in. It's kind of like a string of pearls, but the pearls are all kind of laying on the table. So I have to string them up myself and figure out what comes first. And
Yeah.
then that's when their guides come in and they just start talking about the different things they want the person to know.
Wow, that is so amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, Sarah, I hope you got all that. Next is Megan Saltman.
Okay. Hi, Megan. Okay, let's see. Wow. All right. So what they're showing is a well. It feels like you're a Celt. And it feels like, so one thing about the Celts were kind of considered Indo-European nomadic kind of warrior people. So they actually started in the East and kind of traveled across Europe and wound up in the UK, or what would later become the UK. And it feels to me like this is more like Northern Europe, like up around where Germany is. I mean, before it was known anything like that. But you're looking into a well and you're connecting with the healing energy of water through that. But also you could see beings like, and that was really common for the Celts actually, to see the little people or fairies or water spirits or different beings. And you learned how to do water magic in that lifetime. And primarily for you, it was learning which beings to trust. And here in America, we're all flutter about fairies, and we have Tinkerbell and all of that. But in Europe and other parts of the world, there's a lot of different types of beings. They're not all friendly. So for you learned who you could trust and who you couldn't trust via the water spirits, like getting in touch with water. And towards the end of your life, you lived to be an old woman, but you would make these healing potions and healing soups for people that were really powerful. But what I'm guided to see here is really pretty amazing, because towards the end of your life, as you got older, you were able to connect with the spirit of water itself. So not just the beings that lived in it, like selkies or mermaids or whatever, but you could talk to the spirit of water, like, And what you discovered was that different bodies of water had a different kind of spiritual presence in it that you could connect with. And then you also got in touch with like the oversoul of all water. So for you, that's all about flow. And what your guides are sharing with me is that how you can connect through all of these water beings and the spirit of waters through your blood, because you've got water in your blood. I mean, that's a part of it. But they say you're still connected to working with those types of beings. So I think there would be a lot of potential there. If I were you, I might collect some like little mermaid charms or something and use those as a touchstone for meditating or working with those energies, because it's fun. And that's the thing most people don't get. When you create, like when you're creating your reality, you are tapping into the subconscious mind. That's the part that does a lot of the creating. And children are very close to that that part of the mind with through their imagination and their play. And so it kind of sparks those memories for you if you wear little things like that that would speak to that, because your subconscious mind speaks through symbols. So hopefully that's not too complicated a message.
Wow, I love that mermaid energy, huh?
It's pretty cool, actually.
Wow, that is awesome. So next we have Thomas Saltman.
Okay. All right. So what they're showing me, there's a few lifetimes here, but one they showed me is you were a woman and you were an Inuit, and I see you holding whale bones, and it's like you're carving the story of your people into this whale bone. And the whale spirit is kind of present in the whale bone, but you made these bones that were kind of story bones. And you know what? I met somebody like 20 years ago who a Native American person walked up to her and said, "Here, these are for you. You're the new caretaker." And she had no idea what they were. And they're bones like different lengths, but they have stories carved on them. There's like petroglyphs, and they're apparently really old. They're thousands of years old. And he really wanted to give them to somebody in his family, but he kept getting drawn to this lady. So what I'm guided to share with you is that you made bones like this. I mean, yours were bigger because they came from whales, but you had these whole stories, and some of them were like healing songs and stuff that were carved on these bones. So that's pretty cool. And that was really kind of centering for you as a shamanic lifetime, because from there you bounced around and you did like I see some Plains Indians lifetimes where you were also a shaman. And it feels like there's a connection also to the sea where you're working with shells and stuff with shamanism. That feels more like it's around Florida. And I'm also feeling like you did some work with Ish Cacao in South America. And Ish Cacao is the goddess of cacao or chocolate. So you worked with her. But it's all in like, how do you bring the natural ingredients of the world and you imbue them with this magic, and then you're using them as tools that humans can access. So there's an idea around that. So I don't know if you do any kind of creativity or woodworking or anything, but there's something there for that.
Wow, that sounds pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So Paige, have you checked your Venmo?
This is a really weird thing for me to do. I'm used to just talking. So yeah, no, we're still good where we were.
Okay, awesome. Well, if any more pop up, we'll put those to the front of the list.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I mean, we can start seeing who wants a message. If
Yeah, that's
with
cool.
you. Okay, I know I saw a couple people. I don't want to miss anybody, and if I do, you guys will just have to let me know. What's up, Veronica?
Okay.
You probably do you lead your last name?
No, Veronica's
Okay.
fine.
Just making sure.
Okay. No. Most of the people I do pictures for, I've never even seen.
Okay.
You know, I've never met them or anything. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so what they're showing with you is they're showing a lifetime where you were, like today, I think they call them Rom because it's like not supposed to be politically correct to call them gypsies. But that's what you were. They're showing me a past life. It feels like it's Eastern Europe. You're dancing around a fire. And they're showing me that you could read tea leaves and you were really good with them. Kind of spooky good, actually. but you were really good. So what your spirits are saying is you learned how to see patterns in the world. And so it wasn't just like looking at, and that's for you was the epiphany, by the way, as you're looking at cups and you're looking at the symbols appearing in the cup, but realizing you can see patterns of things in the world. So you kind of turned the whole world into your teacup. And the feeling I'm getting for this is around like the late 1600s or so. And your people, and at that time, we still had a lot of the primeval forest left. So your people lived deep in the woods, and they kind of came out to entertain people and do shows and stuff like that. And you would get like a few coins here and there from doing your tea leaf readings. But I do see you like aging through that. You did marry, you did have children, and you always did this on the side, but you could see like you were almost prophetic with the stuff you could see. And so this lifetime is all about trusting your vision. So that's what it's bringing to you right now, trusting your vision, but also seeing the patterns in the world. Like, how can you view the world as a teacup or as an oracle card, if you will, and to kind of engage with that, because it feels to me like you have a talent with talking to angels or spirits, like there's something there with that. And it could be fostered by practicing that.
Wow, that's awesome. That's a beautiful reading. I hope that resonates with you, Veronica. That's really cool. You can really tell that you really enjoy doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Well, it gives me a chance to see movies because I'm watching the whole thing unfold. And it's interesting because with some people, I've met some people that were around during certain times when big things happened. And I've seen where maybe what we have in history is not quite what it was. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's been the fascinating thing to learn about.
Do you see it in color?
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Mm-hmm. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next, we have Heidi.
Hi, Heidi. Okay. Let's see what we have for you. Okay. So what they're showing for you is it feels like first of all, this is in ancient Egypt, but you weren't Egyptian, you were African, and you did trade between your people and the Egyptians. And at that time, the Egyptians were so powerful that they were kind of feared. But you actually had decent relationships with the ones that you did trading with. And I feel that you were a man in that lifetime. And you had your own form of kind of animistic religion that you guys did, where you believed in the spirits of the land. Like there were spirits of different plants, different things that we wouldn't have a correlation to because just the flora and fauna there is really different. But you did trade between your people and the Egyptians. And in a sense, you were kind of a peacekeeper because the Egyptians really liked you. And so sometimes they would give you extra little things, like trinkets or whatever that you could have for yourself or give to your kids because you were father. But it was all about just witnessing all the things that transpired during that time. So I know it may sound like kind of an ordinary lifetime, but it feels very magical to me because it feels like you were very connected to the land at that point, and you had the ability to do really deep listening, and you were fluent in a lot of different tribal dialects that were in your area, but also Egyptian. So you could speak that really fluently. And what the spirits are telling me why that lifetime is important to you is because you witnessed something really powerful. Like you were around during the time when the pyramids started being built. And so you got to see that. So there's a part of you that knows how they did it. So it's like you're a witness. You're a divine witness for that period of history. Like the divine needs all of these different sets of eyes. If you think about a lifetime being like a medicine wheel, and ideally you want to travel around the medicine wheel because you learn from the different direction points. So you're holding this powerful point in history in like the medicine wheel of Earth by having lived in that time. So it's almost like you're honoring what happened then, if that makes any sense. But that's what they're sharing with me on that.
Wow, that was amazing. So any of you that have gotten a reading tonight from Paige, please let us know in the comments, does any of that, does it resonate with you? Does it bring back anything? Just let us know how you feel about it. Veronica, Veronica said that dang, she missed it. She has to go back. She was trying to do her PayPal and missed the reading, so she's going to go back and listen to it. It's really good, Veronica. You will enjoy it so much. Um, that just kind of cracks me up. Um, okay, so we have Joyce next.
Hi, Joyce. Alrighty. Let's see what we have. Oh, how cool. These lifetimes are always fun to look at. Okay. This one, what they're showing me is that you were one of the Sami people, I believe they're called. They're from Finland. And so, like, if you've seen the movie Frozen, that was kind of based off the Sami people. They're showing that you were a woman. Oh, wow. And you did this embroidery. And your embroidery could bless other people. That's fascinating to me. So your people were around reindeer a lot. You saw the Northern Lights all the time. But you had an ability to like sew these beautiful, intricate patterns of flowers, but you did it with intention, which is really interesting to me because some of the earlier deities that we have references for were kind of focused around weaving, or because they believe that weaving, being able to weave and make clothing, is really what the first thing that needed to happen for civilization to happen, as an example. But you're a woman, you had a really large family, but you would make these, that's where you would get your quiet time. It was like meditation for you. But you would do these beautiful embroidered shirts and like skirts and stuff, but you could put something in that. Like if you loved the person, you would channel something in a flower. Like there was a yellow flower that meant hope, and you would put those in it. And you would make something for somebody that maybe didn't have a whole lot of hope, but you would put a little yellow flower on it. And it was like how you did magic. But if somebody were to say, oh, you do magic, no, I don't do any of that. This lifetime feels like it's around the time when Christianity is starting to expand into Europe. But it was really late coming in those areas of the world, so they were able to maintain their traditions longer. And so it feels to me like the guides keep showing around the 1200s. But it was about, I just see you sewing and like dyeing the threads yourself to get these really beautiful colors. So everything from the ground up, but you could do magic through embroidery. That's really interesting. So you might want to check out, like, I don't know if you do magic or anything like that, but you might want to check out cord magic, sewing things, doing something with thread, because it's kind of a way of binding a good intention to something else. Maybe practice with yourself with goals that you have, and if you're like, oh, I have no ability to sew whatsoever, just get one of those little kits, like they sell little kits on it. But there's something there. You did magic through your embroidery.
Wow, that is so cool. You don't hear Finland popping up very often, but my great grandparents were born in Finland.
Oh, really? Oh, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, my ancestry turned up some Finnish stuff for me too.
Oh, really?
And Coptic
Wow.
Egyptian. I don't know where that came from.
Well, Maureen, thank you so much for your Rumble rant. Maureen is watching over, obviously, on Rumble, and she would love a message.
Okay.
Or a reading.
Sure. Okay. Wow. So this is what they're showing me about you. You lived in Japan. You were a man. You had a noodle shop. So you made noodles. And you would, a lot of times you would serve like samurais. So this was a while ago. But you would serve, and you had all these interesting people that came to your noodle shop because it was the best noodle shop around. But you were really deep. Like you were really a deep person. You had a really great sense of humor. And I mean, your noodles were great, but people really came for you because you just had this unique way of looking at the world. Sometimes you would say something and people could laugh at what it was you said, but later it would like turn out to be true. But you would do stuff like that. And it feels to me like it's maybe, I'm feeling like late 1600s, early 1700s, around the time of that lifetime. But it feels like Japan is beautiful then. You've still got all the old forests and everything. And just fascinating with all the stuff you learned. Some of the samurai taught you some of their stuff too. So you weren't too bad with a sword yourself. And you could even show them a few tricks that they didn't know. But it was all, that lifetime was all about being present and just being aware of all of the things, all the conversations, all the people. It feels like when I tap into that lifetime, it feels like that lifetime feels very restful to your soul, because sometimes we come into lifetimes where we've got to work hard on something, or we see negative things that happen like wars and such. But this lifetime feels like it's a nectar for you, like it's something that feeds you. So today you might have this relaxation that comes out of nowhere, or a sense of peace that comes out of nowhere. And you could be like, well, where is that from? And it feels like it's from this lifetime, because that part of you really loved to laugh, would really love to laugh, and had a wonderful sense of humor.
Wow. That is really cool. Um, so have you found when you give someone a past life reading that there are things, maybe characteristics or different things about their personality that go through each different lifetime with them?
Yeah, there are aspects of yourself that can certainly, get passed down. Like when I do the pictures, what I do is, it's kind of like, if you've ever seen quilts before, like really intricate ones, and you notice that there's a color theme, like maybe they're working on a blue theme in the quilt. So what I tap into is the theme that you're working on. So what is the theme right now for you?
Mm-hmm.
And that lifetime is coming up for a reason, because it's sharing its wisdom, which you have access to all of the wisdom from all of the past lives you've ever led. You might not remember who you were or where you were, but there's something there that you're going to have access to, that you might have knowledge and wisdom from, especially with really little kids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you've seen those stories where they're like, I remember I was married to this lady and we had 4 kids, and the kids too. And you're like, no, you didn't. But, that's them remembering a past life.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. Okay, so next we have Kim.
Hi, Kim. Okay. Oh, all right. Wow. Okay. So what they're showing me is a couple of things. One, you've got a past life on a water planet.
Ooh.
And it feels like, and this is interesting, because it's a big planet, but not all of the water on it was super deep. Some of it was kind of shallow. And I'm trying to describe what I'm seeing, because it kind of looks like coral, but there's like waterfalls coming from it. And this world feels very, very peaceful, very peaceful. Like your people have no desire to leave the world or go traveling through space. Like you're happy where you're at. So it's just very peaceful and very happy. And so when you began incarnations as a human, you wanted that again. So you came in as a Toltec, and the Toltecs in South America also worked with fountains. And I've had a lifetime myself as a Toltec. And what's interesting about that is, for me, it's really weird to be in a place where they have a lot of public fountains and you can't get in them. And the Toltecs designed their fountains so that you could get in them. That was the point. It was a community thing. So like, where there's some malls you go to and they have a splash pad and the kids can play in it. I mean, they had all these public fountains that would do different things. Like some had different healing frequencies in them. Others were just a place to gather. But you actually played in the fountains. That was the point, was to get into the fountain. Mm-hmm. And so that's a carryover from having lived on that planet where you felt this peace and this love. And the lifetime you have as a Toltec is super cool, because it's before the European colonizers came. So you got to experience the full flower of that. So it's about community. It's community. So I would be curious if any part of water is relaxing to you in any way, like either taking long baths or you like tea or whatever. But there's a connection there with water and community and just feeling connected.
Wow, that's awesome. Heidi, yes. I'm sorry. She must have done yours when you were making your payment. But go back and listen to it, because it is really, really amazing. And I know that it's really going to resonate a lot with you. And let's see. Sarah said, oh my goodness, I love to sing. So amazing, Paige. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'll be Reiki Master certified soon. Oh, there we go. To incorporate more healing into my work. Love your reading so much. Many blessings.
Oh, thank you.
Well, now I
One
know
thing I want to add here, if I could, really quick.
Sure.
One of the words, so in the Jewish tradition, they have the 72 names of God, which are 3 Hebrew letters together. And they form one of the names of God. And one of the names of God translates to water, directly to water. And they believe that the divine was present in pure water, that it was infused with light, and that held the presence of the divine. So for those of you that are getting these water lifetimes, because apparently there's a theme here, reflect on that, is that water was considered a source for the divine. And that's why we christen people, or when you do any kind of initiation ceremony, usually water is somehow involved, and it goes back to that time. So it has a very ancient root.
Well, that's really amazing. Um, so Tiffany, I saw like a message on the side here that got like kind of like lit up. I thought I accidentally clicked it on, like I was going to delete it, but I see that you have been putting it off the screen. So thank you for that. Especially in case I miss somebody, because I don't like to skip over people.
Mm-hmm.
I think we might be caught up, but how you said she is always drawn to water. Oh, and I believe she lives near the water as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Um, so we have still probably about 25 minutes left. So
Mm-hmm.
if anybody else would like a reading, please put it in the comments, and please let us know what you think of your message. So that would be just okay. Veronica just watched hers. She said she just watched it, and yes, I do see patterns, symbols everywhere in nature, and I'm just learning how to piece them together. Thank you for the validation.
Oh, you're welcome.
That is so wonderful, Veronica. I knew you would love that. See.
One of the types of divination I do that you might want to try that's really fun, speaking about tea leaf reading, I once taught a class on how to read tea leaves at a science fiction convention. And how I teach it, like literally, I can show you now in like a minute how to do it.
Uh-huh.
So what I did is I taught everybody how to do it by looking at the sky. So if you're outside on a cloudy day and the clouds form shapes, and we've all done this as kids. Oh wow, that one looks like a dog, that one looks like a submarine, that looks like this. So what you do is you look outside, and you can close your eyes and ask for a message from the divine. I have a question about this. And then if it's a cloudy day where you got lots of little puffy clouds, open your eyes, and what's the first cloud that grabs you? And then what shape is it? Now, this is how you work the interpretation of that.
Mm-hmm.
As an example, with tea leaf reading, if you get a dog in your cup, that usually refers to a friend. Like traditionally, a dog is a friend because they symbolize loyalty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've got a girlfriend who was attacked by dogs 3 times when she was a
Oh.
child. She was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, pretty much how it was. I mean, she's okay and all that, but she's terrified of dogs. So if she closes her eyes and then opens them and then sees a dog in the clouds, that's going to freak her out because she doesn't have a good feeling about dogs.
Right.
If you love dogs and you do see them as friends, then that would be your interpretation. So if my friend who doesn't like dogs or is afraid of them saw a picture of a dog in the sky, then she would go, okay, I just need to be cautious of something that might be coming, because she could link it to that episode in her life. So you look at how it speaks to you. How does it speak to you personally? Do you like the symbol? What do you think about this symbol? Mm-hmm. And then that's how you form your interpretation. And that's how you interpret dreams too. How do you feel about the different things that are in your dreams? Mm-hmm. Like look at each of the symbols. What does that say to you as far as, well, how do I feel about cars? Or how do I feel about this road being really twisty as opposed to maybe being straight and narrow or whatever? And that's how you do your interpretations.
That makes a lot of sense. But I had to kind of laugh when you said how you used to look at the clouds when you were kids. Some of us still do that.
I do that. I do cloud divination all the time, and it's really accurate, actually. It's surprisingly accurate.
It's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really great. Do you teach classes on that, on the team?
Yeah, I've done classes on just about everything. I did a woo-woo class once teaching people how to talk to people from other planets should they ever meet.
That's pretty cool. I love that. We have a couple more. Thank you so much, Heather, for your super sticker. That is so awesome. We'll go with Heather.
Hi, Heather. Okay. All right. Wow. Okay. So, what I'm seeing is you were a man in a past life. You were a stagehand. It looks like it was for the Globe Theater in England. So this is really old. So this would have been when Shakespeare was still alive.
Ooh.
And you helped with the sets, and you saw all of these plays. You were illiterate, but you had a really good memory. Like you had all the lines of all of his plays memorized. And because you did that, it actually expanded your mind a lot, and you could talk about a lot of really cool things. And again, that's a lifetime where you're watching something really important happen. And you're seeing all of these plays for like the first time ever. So that's really, really cool. And I see all of these colors around you, like and back then, like all of the actors were men. I mean, most people don't know that, but women couldn't act. It was
Right.
really like, I mean, even if you were a man and you were an actor, it was like really looked down on, but everybody was male who did the performances. But you helped build the stages, you helped with all the costuming. Like you did a lot of stuff because they needed people to do a lot of different things. But it's such a fascinating lifetime. I feel like you're surrounded by all of this incredible creativity, all of this inspiration. You learn new ways of knowing things. It just feels really exciting and really fun to me, that lifetime.
Oh, that is so cool. So I'm going to say, Veronica said, thanks, Paige. That was very helpful. I'm always looking at clouds, as those who see my pics of clouds on Facebook know. Ha ha ha. And Laura Ramiro, she said she loves cloud watching.
Yeah, it's
It is.
fun.
It's very fun. I can remember always doing that. And you
Hmm.
always see the neatest shapes in the clouds.
One time I was flying from Phoenix to Austin, Texas to visit my kids. And I always get the window seat because I'm looking at clouds from above. And I looked out the window and suddenly all these colors started going past. Like the whole window was red, and then it was orange, and then it was yellow. And I thought, holy crap, we're flying through a rainbow. And that's exactly what happened. We flew. So I saw all of the colors go by. And then as we ascended, there was this perfect round shape. Because so rainbows naturally in the wild are round, they're totally round. So when we see them on the earth and looking up, it looks like just a bow, but it's actually completing a round up above the clouds. And so
Oh,
I saw
wow.
the whole round of the rainbow, and the shadow of our plane was in the middle of it. It was the coolest thing ever.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. I saw a rainbow once from an airplane too. And it just looked like it. I mean, it was so huge. And the colors were so intense. That was a long, long time ago. But when something like that happens, I get all excited. I don't even think to take a picture.
Hmm.
You know.
Cell phones now.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody does it now. Do we have little reading for Stony?
Okay. Okay, let's see. Oh, wow. Okay, so what I'm seeing with you is it feels like you're Mayan in this past life. Again, this is before European colonizing came. And the reason I mention that in these lifetimes when you're from an area where there might have been colonization is because it's going to be a totally different feel to the lifetime than after all that happens. But what I'm seeing is that you're holding one of the crystal skulls and you're taking it somewhere. It's like you were a skull carrier. So I don't know if you're familiar with crystal skulls, but there's supposed to be, I think, 9. There's 7 that have been found, but they can't find out how these skulls were made. Like there's no tools today that could make them as smooth and perfect as they are, but they contain knowledge, like dimensions from other dimensions. And there's some theories that the skulls helped those civilizations develop. But anyway, when you're a skull carrier, you're the one that gets to talk to the skull and you talk to the spirit that's in the skull. And I have to say, the first time I heard about this, I thought it was such bullshit. Because, we were supposed to meet this crystal skull. This person was bringing in, I think it was Max. They all have names too. This was Max. He came into the store, like he was coming into this place called Storm Wisdom, and you could meet the person there and have a session. And I was grumbling about it. And I'm like, who does she think she is? This is crap. I'm just going to go. And I paid $50 for it just to sit in the room with Max. And I'm like, all right, fine. And I sit in front of the chair and I'm looking at Max, and I could touch him, but I couldn't pick him up. And I'm like, fine. And I take my hands on my thumbs and I swirl them around his little eye sockets. And I'm like, there. And then suddenly it's like, whoosh, I got this memory that I was a skull holder as well. And I just started bawling. And I'm like, oh, that's why I'm wondering about this. Because I'm like, here's this modern lady. She's never been initiated. And here she is holding the skull. And what the hell? And I thought, oh my God, that's where that attitude came from. Anyway, all of the skulls are connected. That's just how it works. If you get yourself a little crystal skull and hold it, you might start getting some really interesting information downloads. Things from other planets, probably other lifetimes would come through. It would be a way to communicate those things. Like magically, when you get skull candles to burn them to do magic with, skull candles can bring in really good stuff. So there's something powerful here for you on that. But you were a priestess and you were the holder of the skull and you communicated the messages to the ruling class from the skull. So that's pretty cool.
That is very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to laugh when you were talking about Max because my son and I went and met Max.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yes, and it was like the most intense energy ever.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
And even the lady who came in, and I thought, oh shit, I held Max. Well, this is weird. I'm not going to say anything. And the lady who was doing it at the time said, Max says that you were one of his holders. And I'm like, well, there it is. But it was really emotional because I could still feel that he loved me and all that, but now he's with somebody else. It was so weird. It's like if you have this lifetime dating somebody and then you die, but they're immortal and they've moved on to another relationship is what it felt like. And I'm like,
yeah.
What the hell?
Wow. That is just so amazing. Heather says, thank you. And Sarah said she sees lots of hearts in the clouds.
That's cool. And to me, that's the universe sharing that it loves you.
Yeah, that is beautiful. Joyce says she's always taking pictures of clouds, that she loves them.
Mm-hmm.
And Veronica said that the other day she was bantering with one of her guides and looked at a cloud and it was giving her the finger.
Okay, so if that's the case, what I feel that message is, and again, this is up to you. You could look at that, get your own interpretation. Well, how do you feel about that? And it may not necessarily be flipping you off, but it may be talking about an issue that you're working over and you're giving it more importance than it needs is what I'm getting on that.
I see. That's good. Kim says, I have been in trouble a few times for going into fountains, run through the sprinklers often, and soaking in a hot tub. Yes, water is peaceful.
Oh, cool.
That is really cool. Interesting. Thank you so much, said Stony. Veronica said the skulls make her feel really uneasy. She must look into why.
Okay. And that is with some people too. Like some people take a while to get comfortable with them. Some don't. As an example for this, I've got a girlfriend who cannot stand anything Egyptian. She hates it. And it turns out she's a really powerful past life coming through where she was African and taken into slavery by them. So she doesn't have good memories of them at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like at all. So sometimes your aversion to a thing could be that either in a past life you wanted to get close to whatever it was, but were kind of refuted. And I feel like there's some kind of class structure thing going on with that question. Like in some way, and I'm not even sure it was around a skull, but it seems like it's around something that you thought should have been yours that wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that around it. And some people just don't like them. And you know what? That is totally okay.
Yeah, when I first heard about them, I thought that was kind of weird.
I did too. I was like, really? This is just odd.
Yeah. And it's like, where did these things come from? And how do you really know they're what you say they are? But then when you experience the energies, it's completely different.
Yeah. And like around Max, I'm like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah. Do we have a message for Anthony?
Hi, Anthony. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so what they're showing me is that you have a lifetime from a planet that's super close to your sun, like super close. So you can handle really super hot temperatures in that lifetime. And it feels like you built space stations that were between your planet and the sun because there's some kind of energy thing you did. Like you could get energy from your sun. And your people could handle like really intense pressure. So I don't get the feeling you were really tall. You're probably really short because usually beings are that come from planets that have a lot of gravity. So you had a lot of pressure. But, and when I look at how, like when I'm looking through your eyes at how you're looking at your star, it's like it fills your whole vision. It's really pretty incredible. But you learned how to communicate and work with solar energy. So listen to that first part. You learned to communicate. So what that means is that you would have lifetimes. So what I'm picking up with you is lifetimes where the sun would have been a central part of that. So how is that translating now? So what that means is I feel like you have a lifetime where you served the Egyptian sun god Ra. So that I'm getting a feeling there. So you were part of that. And it feels like you were a priest, but close to the pharaoh at the time. And you helped with the design of some of the cities, but you were really into like how constellations align, like Orion's belt and stuff like that. You were way into that. And then other lifetimes where the sun was also important. Mm-hmm. Like there seems to be one that's in South America somewhere where the sun's important, but also Norway. So Norway, the sun obviously is important because it's warm and it's really cold up there. So they see, more life affirming things around the sun. And what I'm being guided to say for you is that it's actually possible for you to connect to the star that we have here, to connect to our sun. And then imagine like the golden light comes through your hands and through your body. And with the hand that you write with, imagine that light comes out through that hand, and then put your hand on something you want to give energy to or see manifest in some way. But what they're sharing with me is that you could use the sun to still produce energy for you, even though you're not on a ship anymore, you're here on this planet. But you could do that with just by using the sun, that you have a really good connection with that.
Wow.
I would try that.
That is really cool. Have you ever had an experience where you didn't get any information at all?
No, but I did have one person who had all of their past lives were really negative. There wasn't one, actually. There was not one.
Was their current life as well?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, that would be awful.
Yeah, and when I told him, I thought, wow, I've got to pick the best one of the bunch, and they're all pretty awful, but okay, I'll pick this one. And it turns out that she was responsible for the burning of the Library of Alexandria. Oh. And I thought, oh, okay. And so how do I spin this? Because, I don't want to leave her crushed or anything. What if she finds all of this upsetting? And so I told her, I said, okay, so in that lifetime was the lifetime where you learned you could make a step into a positive direction, and you can learn from this lifetime to create beauty in the future. And she looked at me and smiled and she said, I love being a monster. Like, okay.
Wow. So Tiffany just asked a very interesting question. She said, how would you all feel to have Paige join Goldylocks Productions as a show host? Would you watch the shows? And listen to some of these amazing responses. Sarah said it would be awesome to have Paige on our Goldylocks Productions team. And I agree. Veronica says, Tiffany, Paige's energy is beautiful and pure, so she would be a fantastic addition.
Well, thank you, everyone.
That is awesome. Anthony said, thank you very much, Paige, for his message. Veronica said, the hope her shows would be in my time zone. Heidi said this was incredible. And your readings are absolutely magnificent.
Thank you.
I've never really heard anything quite like that before in my life.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? This is a pointer I'll give to all of you. You can only see what you believe in. For example, I knew this guy who was a brilliant, brilliant medium, like the best medium I've ever seen. He could look at you and say, wow, your grandmother used to bake blueberry pies, but she could never get the flour mixture right. It was always on a Tuesday at 4 p.m., like real specific stuff that people would know. And he was dead on with all of it. And he did other psychic readings too, but he couldn't see anything about aliens. And he couldn't see elementals because he didn't believe in that stuff because he was super fundamentalist. It was just, his Christian view of the world. So he couldn't see. So I think it would be possible for him to see those things. So I try to be really accepting of what is out there, even though it may not be my thing. I want to be able to see it.
Yeah.
So that's why I leave it open, and why sometimes I always wonder, well, what's somebody to say when, oh, you were from another planet? Yeah, you were from there.
Veronica said that you may not know she's in Australia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they're just moving into wintertime there.
Oh, okay, cool.
And Joyce said, Paige, you are amazing. I would love to see you more.
Oh, thank you.
And I know some people came on a little bit later after we had talked in the beginning. So would you just real quick tell everybody about your soul portraits and how they can get one?
Okay. So I do have a website called artofpaige.com, which you can go to, that shows examples of my work so you can see what it looks like. And what I do generally, people contact me most of the time through email. And otherwise, it's usually some kind of social media format. But most of the time, I get contacted through email. So just email me, say, hey, I'd like a picture. And then we just go back and forth, like, who is it for? Is it for you or a family member or a friend or whatever? And turnaround time is usually around 2 weeks. Sometimes it's a little sooner than that if I get slammed with orders. I let everybody know. But then I send you a tracking number so you can track it. I don't have a click to buy option yet on my site. Mostly I just connect with people because I want to make sure they really want it. I don't want somebody flippantly just buying it because they're bored and then.
Right. What exactly does it entail?
So what it is I draw a picture for you that is a picture of what your soul most wants you to know. So it'll be highly symbolic of different things in your life. And you get a typed report. It's about 2 to 3 pages long. And in it, I will go through 3 different past lives you've had. And I will say who you were, when you were. If I pick up that maybe somebody in your life is somebody you knew, then that will come in if it's important to know. Also, what you were supposed to learn from that lifetime. I also give you messages from 2 different spirit guides and recommendations for stones that are good for you to help you manifest what you're working on at the moment.
Wow.
And then I also leave it open, like if something in the report isn't clear, you're like, well, I don't understand this part. Can you explain a little more? I'm open to doing that because I want to make sure that what I'm telling you is clear. And I don't charge you like to come back with an email and go, I don't understand this part.
Yeah.
Just send me an email and I'm like, oh, well, let me explain. It's this, this, and this.
Wow, that's beautiful. Have you done one for yourself?
I've done a couple. Yeah.
Oh, that is
usually
so cool.
I do them if there's something I want to pull out. Like if I want to manifest something more or I'm working on a goal, that's usually when I'll do them.
Wow. That is so awesome. And Laura said, I think she'd have a great show.
Oh, thank you.
I think that is true too. It's been so much fun having you here. And I hope maybe in the future you'll come back again.
Yeah, I'd love to.
That would be great. Veronica said, wow, that sounds awesome. What an amazing talent you have.
Thank you.
Yes, you do. You sure do. This has been so much fun, Paige. Thank you so much for coming on and kicking off my summer for me with being my first special guest of the summer.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. I want to thank everyone else for being here, and I hope you guys will, come back next week. And you guys all need to write down Paige's email address so you can go and get a soul portrait because they are absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to get mine next week, hopefully. So after I do, of course, I'll show it to you guys, and you can see. I know we've seen when you did one for Tiffany. It was beautiful, and I believe Robin as well. I think I missed part of when she was explaining it, but it was beautiful.
Thank you.
So yeah, awesome. Well, I guess we're at that time where we're out of time. So I will say goodnight for now. And thank you again, Paige. I'm just so grateful you were here. It's been an amazing show. And everybody else, have a great week. And I love you all. Good night.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show.